We're running so much, it's like a freaking track meet, like a relay. We need some extra guys. I've never played in an offense where the tempo was so high. There's so many plays, so fast. As soon as you're done, you've got to be ready for the next play. Well, we welcome in Mel Kiper Jr., how are you? Ron Jaworski, better known as Jaws for me. You heard what these guys have said. Here's the question. I'll start with you first, Jaws. Will Chip Kelly revolutionize the NFL?
And by the way, you have spent a little time with Chip,
some
right?
background
Yes,
there.
great respect for him. No one revolutionizes the National Football League. There's a way you have to play in the NFL. I love what Chip is doing. He's had great success wherever he has been. He's a visionary. He will do things differently. But the NFL still boils down to the same old thing. We've seen the wildcat. We've seen the spread. We've seen all these things. At the end of the day, you have to have players that execute NFL style of plays. I think Chip will do some things differently, but no one revolutionized the game. There are no geniuses in the NFL. I think Chip Kelly's a rock-solid football coach, and the Eagles will be a better football team in a few years once they learn his concepts and his techniques.
Kiper Selleck says it's something that he's never seen before in the NFL.
You know, I think RG3 last year had elements of what you were talking about with that spread option. You think about that read option. You think about spreading the field. Teams have been doing that. Obviously, the speed of RG3, the speed of Colin Kaepernick allowed that to happen. Michael Vick brings a similar dimension. I think if Chip Kelly would have come in prior to that and, say, revolutionized, brought something new, then would have had the same success with the quarterback, Vick. Moving forward, does it get a Geno Smith or an E.J. Manuel? We'll see. But I think had it been 2 years ago, it may have been a little different. Now the standard's been set. RG3 showed what you could do. Also, Kaepernick showed what you could do. What are defenses doing all these off months? They're strategizing. They're figuring it out, okay? They're getting a handle on how to do this, and we saw RG3 unfortunately get hurt. Hit that quarterback as much as you can. Can they withstand all that punishment? All this is fine to take somebody, the league, by storm, and to a certain extent they did. But now the storm is past. And now will Chip Kelly, being come into this NFL, which is not something new, but rather something that's been done, still be able to run this fast-paced offense and be as successful?
I love the up-tempo, fast-break style of offense. You look at the success that Tom Brady's had in New England.
I agree.
Matt Ryan in Atlanta when they go. Peyton Manning, when they go, it puts a tremendous burden on the defense to adapt and adjust quickly. I mean, when you're running 60 plays a game and you're taking 30 seconds between every play, that defense always has time to adjust. When you're running 80 plays a game and you're bringing players, fresh players in every single play without huddling, I'll tell you what, puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the defense. That's going to be the intriguing part. Teams have, tried the up-tempo offense, the teams I mentioned. For Chip Kelly, he wants to on every single snap.
I love the stamina endurance, all the testing, everything he's doing to make sure his offensive players can handle that.
I agree.
And defensively, you're going to be able to handle what other teams will do to you. He gets that. So I think the stamina, the endurance, everything he's doing, which seems kind of new and everybody's wondering about, there's method to the madness with Chip Kelly.
Well, you also have to look at it this way, too. He comes from the college level. You got 120 players at practice. You can bring them in waves when you practice.
Said. You need some more guys out
It
there.
ain't happening at the National Football League level. When you cut down your roster and you've got 53 players, and normally every week about 15 to 20 guys are hurt, you have a hard time putting a scout team out there, let alone be doing an up-tempo type practice. And the other thing, too, in the NFL, you have big uglies, those offensive linemen. You tell me Jason Peter at 6'4", 6'5", 348 pounds, they're going to run a bubble screen. He's going to sprint 60 yards downfield, sprint back and run another play. You're going to wear those guys out. So I think Chip Kelly is going to have to make some adjustment to the NFL game as well.
There's a message being sent here, I think, and you were close to Andy Reid. I think we're hearing between the lines that the Eagles under Andy weren't in the best of shape. He's going to really whip these guys into a higher level of physical conditioning than they used to be.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Okay.
I'm around these NFL players on a daily basis, a lot of different teams. The conditioning is absolutely remarkable. They have some of the finest conditioning.
Sometimes he did love his guys to a fault.
That's great. I mean, that is a fault. I think you can keep a guy too long. I heard you guys debating Peyton Manning. Sometimes you got to make the hard decision before the guy does begin to
And how about,
descend.
Charles, and how about the scaling it back? You had talked about that with me, scaling it back a little bit for Michael Vick and ever this offense is going to be a little bit more simplicity to it. Obviously, it was complex and sophisticated. So all of a sudden, I think the whole dynamic of this offense will be a little bit more quarterback friendly, maybe initially for this year. Whether it works or not, I want to see the defensive adjustments that are made.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm waiting for. I want to see this league adjust to what we saw last year.
Yeah, and Mel and I have been talking about this the last couple of days. I think when you're going to run an up-tempo style offense, you minimize your playbook. You can't have that big old thick playbook because it's literally impossible to get that many players on the same page and make all the adjustments once the ball is snapped. And here's what separates players in the NFL. You know, right now Mel does an incredible job of breaking every one of these players down. But to me, when I project them to the NFL, it all happens once the ball is snapped. And that's where the intelligence comes in. You know, we look at the gifted athletes, but you have to be intelligent to play at the NFL level. So once the ball is snapped, you have to make the proper adjustments. And that's why I think in Chip Kelly's offensive Philly, it's going to have to be scaled down early. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, you get to a more high-volume offense, you know, based on what the playbook is.
I do think Chip revolutionized the way college offenses run. I do think that. I'll go that far.
I agree with you.
That's a big word to use.
Yeah, but look at Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia. You look at Clemson. I mean, look at Oklahoma State, and he's running it. I love it. I mean, I'm a quarterback, and you know what? If I'm a quarterback, I don't want to run 58 plays a game. I want 85 plays a game. I don't want to drop back, start slinging it around. I want to go high octane.
In the Pac-12, where defense can be an afterthought, they were getting away with some things you can't get away with, as you say, in the National Football League. There are times they would not block half the line of scrimmage, and they'd go this way and they'd go that way. You can't get away with that at this level. My time covering the league suggests to me that Chip will be in for something of a rude awakening next year. They will try some things that won't work the way they did at Oregon. I wish he had gotten Michael at age 23, 24, and 25. That's unfortunate. But I watched Jimmy Johnson walk in the door in 1989 from the University of Miami with his chest out saying, watch this. Watch how fast we turn this around. And, of course, media guys in Dallas were sitting back saying, oh, really? You're going to change the way they play football. He did not change the way they played football in the NFL. They did it conventionally, and they turned it right around. And as you know, third year, fourth year, fifth year, they're dynasty. But he did it conventionally. They didn't do anything different. In fact, they simplified their offense, and they ran a real base defense. And
I agree with you. Okay. That's NFL football. But I'm going to give Chip some credit in this regard, too. He brings in Pat Shurmur, which, you know, a lot of head coaches are going to do it my way or the highway. Pat Shurmur's been around the NFL as a quarterback coach, an offense coordinator, and a head coach. He knows how the NFL works. So, when I look at Chip saying, hey, he brings in a guy that understands the NFL game. So he's got a sounding board, not saying, I know everything. This is the way we're doing it. Hey, Pat, what do you think? Will this work? Will it won't work? What do you think? He's got an outstanding coaching staff, a mixture of collegiate guys and NFL guys, which I think will help him help lead him through the tough times early. It's going to be tough early. There's excitement. It's minicamp. They're out there, no shoulder pads. You know, they're out there with no pads on. They got a helmet.
Okay, but bottom line, from what you've seen so far, you think he will be long-term a successful National Football League coach?
He's a brilliant guy. He's a visionary, and he understands football. And he's a football wonk. He absolutely loves football.
All I can say is this division. Can you think about this with Chip Kelly and this offense, RG3 and that offense, Eli Manning and 2 Super Bowl rings with Tom Coughlin and Jerry Reese, and then you throw in the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and Romo.
We're ready.
That division is one for the books.
Come on, the ESPN Monday Night Football opener. I mean, are you talking about excitement already building? I mean, you got to assume RG3 will be back. I'm going to assume Michael Vick will be the starting quarterback. And oh, by the way, the last time we saw Michael Vick in Washington on a Monday Night Football game, he threw for 333 and ran for 80 and counted for 6 touchdowns.